regular city council meeting to order. Invocation by Pastor Tim Manning, Taylorville Christian Church. Before we start this, we'll have a moment of silence for Alderman Bertle's mother, Vicki Hannon, who passed away on Friday.
Father, we come before you tonight. First of all, we ask your help and comfort upon Alderman Bertle and his family and the loss of their loved one. We ask, Father, that you will please be with them and comfort them at this time. Also, Father, we thank you for our home, the city of Taylorville, for our friends and for our neighbors who live and work here. We ask that you will help us to all live together in harmony and to be successful in all of our endeavors. Please bless this meeting tonight for your honor. And we pray these things in the name of our resurrected Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Larry Bud.
Here.
John Bertle. Ernie Dorchenez.
Here.
Lee Lanzetti.
Here.
Jim Olive.
Here.
Martin Boda.
Here.
Earl Walters.
Here.
All Aldermen were present except Alderman Bertle. The volunteer of the month. Volunteer of the month had an emergency come up yesterday, was not able to make it, so we will move that to next month. The omnibus vote designation. Motion by Alderman Dorchenez. Second by Alderman Bud. Roll call.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Lee Lanzetti.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Martin Boda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held April 1st, 2019. Minutes of the public hearing held April 1st, 2019. Minutes of the regular meeting held April 1st, 2019. Minutes of the Emergency Services Committee meeting held April 4th, 2019. Minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held April 4th, 2019. Minutes of the Water Environmental Committee meeting held April 11th, 2019. And minutes of the Lake and Airport Committee meeting held April 11th, 2019. Motion to approve.
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Walters.
Second.
Second by Alderman Olive. Roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Lee Lanzetti.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Martin Boda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Ordinance. An ordinance amending the standard operations guideline 211 concerning the Taylorville Fire Department ambulance deployment and amending paragraph B of section 4-1-15 of the Taylorville City Code.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Dorchenez. Second.
Second.
Second by Alderman Bud. Questions or discussion? Alderman Rhoda?
Prior to the meeting, Mrs. Dunn came up to us and was discussing some of her concerns. I was wondering if we might open the floor, make a motion to open the floor, let her have her say at the council level, and then close the floor, come back in and vote. Make a motion to open the floor this meeting on.
All right, motion to open the floor by Alderman Rhoda.
Second.
Second by Alderman Lanzetti. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Motion carries.
Mrs. Dunn?
Ms. Dunn?
Well, I need, first of all, some clarification on this new version. We just got it Friday afternoon. I sent it to my corporate attorney, who has not had time to review and respond appropriately yet. So, first thing I would ask that you postpone this vote to another meeting after we've had better time to review this and more time for my attorney to look over this and respond. One of the things I would like to acknowledge that was changed was to thank everyone for making sure that if another ambulance service comes in, they have to have a location here in town. That was apparently not the way it was being proposed for a little while. Some questions I have on E, and this would be permits required and additional requirements. E, at the end it says, any additional ambulances that an owner-operator shall determine to operate under a permit shall likewise meet the aforesaid ambulance equipment
Excuse me,
license.
what page are you on?
I'm on 4. Sorry.
You got the wrong ordinance.
Yeah, it'd be the second ordinance. Gentlemen.
This is the one that is marked for a vote on the 15th day of April 2019.
Okay. The current ordinance that we're talking about is not the one this is talking about. So if we want to go ahead and vote on this one, get this one taken care of, and then we'll have to,
There's two separate ordinances.
Right.
concerns stated. So there's two different ordinances.
So the fire department one, I have no input on that.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying, we'll go ahead and.
So you guys gonna take care of it first? Okay.
I'll leave the floor open at this time, Your Honor, and then let the commissioners comments, once this has been voted on, and get into the second one.
Any other questions or comments on the first ordinance that we're discussing? Roll call.
Lee Landzadi,
Yes on the first one?
Jim Olive,
Yes.
Martin Boda,
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Mayor Barry.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. The second one, an ordinance adding section 4-1-16 to chapter 1 of title 4 of the Taylorville City Code. Permits required for non-municipal owned ambulance services.
Make that motion, Your Honor.
First, Alderman Voda, second, Alderman Dorchenez.
You need to note that, the first sentence in the ordinance says, whereas it is of paramount importance that ambulance service be provided 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year in the corporate limits of the city and within the Taylorville Fire Protection District. That is exactly what this ordinance will do. We have discussed this at length at several meetings. It was finally given to Mr. Romano to dress up the language a little bit. He did that, and the fire chief is pleased with it. The assistant fire chief is pleased with it. I'm pleased with it. The mayor, I won't speak for him. The last time I talked to him, he was pleased with it. That's exactly what this ordinance is for. That's exactly what it's meant to do. It's in that first sentence.
Questions or comments?
Am I allowed to
Comments
speak
from
then?
the
Yeah,
floor?
the floor's still open.
Okay. Now, this doesn't address, which seems like a bit of a change. It says within the city of Taylorville and the fire protection district, so those 3 ambulances, we're still allowed to run 911 calls within Christian County, correct?
The city doesn't control that. The city controls what is obligated for this to operate within the city of Taylorville.
Mhm.
And we also have an agreement with the Taylorville Fire Protection District, which is a donut that goes around the city. And so with the ordinance, and there's no change there, they've always been responsible for doing that. The only change was made was prior to this, the people in the fire protection district, when they called for an ambulance, they could pick the Taylorville Fire Department, and they can't do that now.
I've never been able to.
It said that in the ordinance, I guarantee you. We changed it, we took it out.
So to clarify, do my 3 ambulances have to stay in Taylorville, or are we still allowed to respond in the county? If I take one out to run a county call, is that a violation?
No, the Taylorville doesn't control that. We don't tell you what to do in that regard.
Okay, some of these things are, I guess I just need clarification on, so that the next council that comes in reads them the same way that I'm being explained. Back to E on page 4, at the end, any additional ambulance that an owner operator shall determine to operate under the permit shall likewise meet the aforesaid ambulance equipment license, man personnel, and 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days per year time operational requirements. I'm not sure I understand 365 days per year time operational requirements.
I don't know if I understand your question.
Well, does that sentence make sense to everybody but me?
Well, Lee Gonzalez said beside me said the same thing. I don't know about the rest of the council. Would you restate the question?
Any additional ambulance that an owner-operator shall determine to operate under the permit shall likewise meet the aforesaid ambulance equipment, license, manned personnel, and 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days per year time operational requirements.
The same thing that you're doing. Exactly.
Okay. What about special
Right,
events?
that's what you're doing
Right.
currently.
And so under this, am I to assume if we are meeting those requirements, no one else is going to be allowed to come in? Or someone else can come in and then I'm supposed to drop my
No.
manning and then?
We don't care who, covers what. Taylorville's not, they're not gonna dictate that. All we require is that first statement on the ordinance, okay? However they do it, however you do it, along with somebody else, you have to provide service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. If you don't, somebody else will.
Can I interject here? The way this is written though, gives the impression that if we run additional ambulances besides the one required minimum, that any additional ambulances we choose to have in our building and approved by IDPH, we also have to be staffing. Because that's what it says. Any additional ambulances that we deem that we're going to be operating have to be staffed 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So if we have a truck that's sitting in our bay that's an ALS ambulance ready to respond or be used when the need calls for it, or when we need a truck out for maintenance, you're saying in this ordinance that we have to keep that staffed 24/7, 365 days a year.
You mean if you went and purchased, let's say a used ambulance and set it on the lot? That's
No,
not what
I'm
we
saying,
do.
right now we have 4 trucks that are approved to be on the street. We could put them on the street and have them out there right now. One of them we keep in backup. So when we have to pull a truck out for maintenance, or when call volume is high, then we call people in. But the way this is written, you're stating that because we have that truck ready, it has to be manned. It can't just be sitting there waiting. It says, any additional ambulances that an owner-operator shall determine to operate under the permit shall likewise meet the aforesaid ambulance equipment, licensed man personnel, and 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days per year. So you're telling us it's either every one of our trucks has to be manned and running, or we can't have it. That's what this permit says. That's what this ordinance says.
And when was the last time we brought that 4th ambulance in? Tucker?
Today.
That's not my interpretation, Chief.
No, that's not mine. I guess I
That's
see
not
what
the
you're saying.
intent.
but
Yeah.
That's not.
So some of this I would like time for an attorney to review and.
We had our attorney review it, he put this together, and what bothers me is that, it's come to the city council. These documents were put out last Friday, to all to the
Last
council.
Friday,
and the
Last
public.
Friday.
It's Monday, yeah.
Pardon?
It's only, today's only Monday.
Has it been
These
published for
documents were put out
taxpayers?
Friday night.
Has the citizens of Taylorville been able to see
And
this
so you
ordinance?
got, we've had all this time to review it, and nobody called me. I always answer my phone if anybody had any questions.
So you keep saying all this time has been able to be reviewed, it's been out for 2 days. What's the required amount that it needs to be appealed to the public for the taxpayers of Taylorville? Well, I'm sure it's more than 2 days.
It's not even 2 business days.
My next, would be page 5, G at the bottom. The city shall have the right to inspect at all times, at any time or times during normal business hours, which per your ordinance is 24 hours per day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The aforesaid records of the owner-operator within the allowable limits of Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So those are privileged things. I am going to need some time to redact some private information from that. It can't be, yes, they can walk in and inspect some things in our business, but if they're gonna look at logs that have patient names, and we're gonna need some sort of notice so we can redact those. So I do believe that would need to be changed. On page 5, H, while operating within the city or within the Taylorville Protection District, owner-operators shall utilize their IDPH Mercy monikers. I would just like to ask the council to raise your hand if you know what that means.
Well, where did you say?
We're on page 5.
You said number 8.
H, I'm sorry,
Okay.
H, about the middle of the page.
Okay.
So while operating within the city or within Taylorville Protection District, owner-operators shall utilize their IDPH Mercy monikers. Does anybody on the council know what that means?
Illinois Department of Public Health, but I don't know what Mercy stands for.
Yeah. So this is the thing. It's a petty thing, so it really doesn't make any difference, but it's just like, why are we voting on something? So this means that the city's requiring us to say 3 out of 58 instead of Medic 8. Do any of you really care what we call it when we respond to a call? Do you care if we call it 3 out of 53 or Medic 3?
Chief,
I don't know what you want to say.
That was a request from Memorial Medical Center. EMS. But we're not under Memorial,
not
we're
under
under St. John's, understand. That was the request.
Okay. Annual fee is left blank. I understand since we're already in business, we'd be waived for this year, but, you know, I don't, you guys might be thinking $500 and the next council might be thinking $3,000. So, that seems like that should be, it's somehow in there so we have an idea. Same page, page 5, D, penalty. My employees have a concern about this, as do I. Any owner, operator, and each person found to have been in violation of any of the terms and provisions shall be assessed a fine or penalty in the amount of not less than $250 or more than $750 for each offense. So if we are short, if we put a rig at a special event or something and we were short a rig, the city could fine not only me, but the 2 people that were on that rig. That's how that reads. So that's, you know, I don't have $250 a day excess, and I'm sure not one of my employees wants to pay $250 because you ran a call that somebody had some sort of question with. If another company comes to town, because I don't think this is clarified, so if another company comes to town and brings 1 ambulance to town, then I may have to drop staffing. My staff are very important to me, and to this community. 19 of 25 of them live in Christian County and have worked here for years. So they know the area, they know the citizens, but if they come and bring 1 ambulance and then they say, hey, this isn't profitable, we're moving out, am I fined $250 every day that's not clear in here. So I could potentially be fined $250 a day until my staffing came up. Paramedics are not McDonald's workers, and not that I'm grading them. They don't work at fast food restaurants, they don't work at gas stations. They can't be trained in a few days or a week. My paramedics all had 2 years of schooling. It's an associate degree now. They have tons of continuing education. It's not like I can, hey, sorry, you're gonna be laid off for a couple of months and then hopefully I'll bring you back. They'll find other jobs and they won't be here. This one's confusing to me. Same page, number 5, section 2. The provisions of other City of Taylorville ordinance to the extent they duplicate, conflict, or otherwise affect the validity, hereof shall be disregarded. Otherwise, all provisions of all other City of Taylorville ordinance shall remain in full force and effect. Does that mean we're combining ordinances? What does that section mean? So I feel like none of us 100% understand all of this. And then we're rushing a vote on it. I know it doesn't seem rushing when we've been talking about this since last year, but this is new. This is Friday afternoon, we all got this. And, you know, like I said, I sent it to my attorney, but really it was almost one business working day. He hasn't yet responded. Before I open this up to questions, Rick Downing, stand up, please. My senior member. How many years have you lived in Taylorville?
All my life,
And how long have you worked in Taylorville?
24 years on Dunn's Ambulance, 30 years with Taylorville Fire Department.
Yeah. You can't get this sort of knowledge of the town and knowledge of our area without living in this area. If a new company comes in, are they gonna be allowed to be on 911 right away? Springfield requires 1 year. They have to be in the city operate 1 year before they're allowed on the 911 rotation. Chris Fullhorse isn't here. He does live in Taylorville and has worked for us for several years. Nancy Lights, please.
I've lived here since 2005, and I was with Sutton's until they closed, and I've been with them since the day they closed.
Tricia Lawrence, please.
I've been in Taylorville since 2004. I worked for Sutton's first and came over to Dunn's a year and worked
Lived in Christian County your entire
my
life.
entire life.
Caleb Ingram. Caleb's newer to Christian County, but he's been here
Been working here since October
since October and lives here now.
and live here, yeah.
Yes. Who's my next? Anita's here. Anita?
I've lived in Christian County most of my whole life. I've been on Morrisville Ambulance for about 9 years, been with Dunn's for almost 3 years.
Gina Dunn?
All my life, and I've been with Dunn's for almost 19 years now.
Tracy Hall's back there. Nobody else is in Christian County, right, that are here with you tonight? Yeah, Tucker is here.
I'm Marshall Strawn. I lived in Taylorville all my life, and I worked for Dunn's for almost a year now.
So this isn't just people. These are your community. And I ask you to take care of them. Yes.
To your question, in the front page of this 4116 ordinance, and you made a comment, within the corporate limits of the city and within the Taylorville Fire Protection District, prevalent to 911 calls, would you be able to do that? And that's what I don't see it there. Maybe that was misled. Maybe you can ask Mike Cruz about this. Because I would think your ambulance could be on a 911 call, even though it doesn't say that right here. Now, I don't know, I'm not an attorney, but if that should be in there, that's the reason why you asked that question.
That is the reason I
So, I
asked
mean,
you to postpone and look at it, have an attorney
That's
look
the
at it.
reason why I think, and we should probably table this, we should go back and have that verbiage put in there to answer those questions and plus answer your questions.
I did
I
speak with
make that
Mickey Ryan,
recommendation-
I'm sorry.
I make that recommendation to table this, to give her attorney time to look at this, to get it straightened out, be respectable to our side and your side both, so we can come to an agreement to pass this ordinance. So my vote on this would be no, to not to pass this ordinance.
Council, with that being said, in respects to Paul, it also goes along the lines of mutual aid with surrounding counties as well.
Please identify yourself.
Travis Brown, Dunn's Ambulance employee, but with compliance with mutual aid with other counties, they have a mass casualty incident where they need additional resources pulled from other counties. Is she gonna be fined if she pulls other ambulances from Taylorville to respond for that?
We're regulated by
That is not that's not said anywhere in that ordinance whatsoever, and she needs clarification on that as well.
And we are regulated by IDPH and our CIMIC protocols. We actually have a very large region area that we cover, which is outside of the Taylorville Fire District Protection area. And that's part of what we're governed by. You know, our license, our business, us as individuals, whether we're basics or medics, are governed by other sanctions than the city of Taylorville. So we have many rules to follow.
Okay, Your Honor, make a motion to close the floor this time.
Motion by Alderman Bodie.
Yeah, this doesn't, this is not that urgent that we have to pass this tonight, so I'll make a motion to table.
Motion to table by Alderman Dorsones.
Second.
Second by Alderman Bud.
There's two motions on the table,
Hold
Your
on.
Honor. I have a motion to close the floor.
Motion by Alderman Bodie to close the floor, second by Alderman Gonzalez. All in favor of closing the floor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now, motion by Alderman Dorsones to table this. Second by Alderman Bud. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The table till further review. Thank you. Motion to extend completion date of Stoller Steak and Shake project to May 31st, 2019 due to extenuating circumstances as per redevelopment agreement and any other motions relating thereto. Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Walters. Comment, Alderman Bud.
The reason that we're having to do this is because of all the rain and the problems they ran in out there getting ready to pour the new, road that we will be taking over at a future date. We're extending this because of the weather. We had extended it to the end of April, but if all of you have paid attention, it seems to rain about every 3 or 4 days. So they're having a very difficult time getting the road poured, and that's the reason for this. If they can get it poured, it won't even come close to that, but this allows them without any problems.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to move the Street and Sewer and Public Facilities Committee meetings to Wednesday, April 24th, 2019. Motion by Alderman Walters, second by Alderman Oliver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to authorize and direct the mayor to sign vendor invoice number 202867 for airport project number TAS 4308 in the amount of $1,703.85 for professional services rendered from CMT, and forward the request to Illinois Department of Transportation for disbursement and approved payment of same pending receipt of disbursement. Roll call.
Need a motion, please.
Oh, motion.
So make a motion.
Motion by Alderman Gonzalez, second by Alderman Dorsones. Roll call.
Jim Olive,
Yes.
Martin Boda,
Yes.
Earl Walters,
Yes.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Eddie Gonzalez.
Yes. Motion carries 6-0. City attorney update. A little letter from Rocky here. Invenergy agreement. The terms of the agreement have now been approved and we are awaiting execution of the agreement by Invenergy. A copy of the agreement is attached. Julie printed out the agreement for everyone. And just like to thank Chairwoman Becky Edwards and Mary Renner and myself and State's Attorney Havera and Rocky. We worked diligently on this agreement, and so we're going to get $50,000 upfront money to apply for the new enterprise zone from Invenergy. The two ambulance ordinances that have initially been approved by the mayor, Alderman Dorsones, Fire Chief Cruz, and Assistant Fire Chief Goodall, according to Rocky. As you know, we tabled that. And Stoller Steak and Shake request for an extension of its redevelopment agreement relates to the failure of the partially constructed roadway that is to be dedicated to the city as a public roadway did not meet the applicable state regulations. In conversations with the mayor and Rocky, Stoller, through their representative David Bruno, agreed to have their contractor follow the state regulations in the construction of the roadway. So Rocky worked through that issue with Steak and Shake, and it will be delayed for probably about 2 weeks. The mayoral update. I would like to take this time to offer thanks to 2 longtime aldermen who are currently sitting in on their last city council meeting. Alderman Boda has been an alderman for 12 years. I was would like to thank him for his service to his constituents in Ward 2 and also to the citizens of Taylorville. I would also like to thank Alderman Walters for his 19 years of service for his work in Ward 4 residents and also for the city as a whole. His dedication to the city has been unmatched. We want to thank Walmart for their great grand reopening and their $11 million investment into our community. Their new grocery pickup is getting rave reviews. We just completed extending the completion date for Steak and Shake due to the unusual wet winter and weather in early spring. We've got the initial report back from Leopardo. We will be discussing it at the May Finance Committee meeting. We will also are looking into signing an agreement with Blue Stem on a new green energy project. As always, we're helping with cleanup from the December 1st tornado, and our citywide cleanup will be held on Saturday, April 27th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I hope all aldermen and anyone else that would like to help be at the street department at 7 a.m. My cleanup committee will provide lunch for everyone. We will also be asking for volunteers from the community to come that day and help with any type of cleanup that the city, especially the tornado damaged areas, will need. And I ask for all volunteers to show up that day also. Thank you very much. Committee reports. Discussion and/or motions to approve, adopt, and/or deny, and/or table, and/or amend, and/or refer to an appropriate committee in whole or in part the matters regarding the following subject matters discussed at the committee level. Emergency services.
Thank you, Mayor. There was a motion to recommend to the City Council to forward the fiscal year 2019-2020 Fire Department budget to the Finance Committee. I'd like to make that informed motion.
Motion by Alderman Dorchenez.
Second.
Second by Alderman Voda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Personnel Committee.
Thank you.
Alderman Voda.
Thank you, Your Honor. We had one motion come out of our last Personnel Committee meeting, and that was a motion to recommend to the City Council to bid and or advertise a full-time laborer position for the municipal building. Place that in form of a motion, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Voda. Second. Is there a second to the motion? For the third time I'll ask for a second for the motion. Hearing no second, the motion will be denied. And thank you.
That's okay, Your Honor. You can expect to have the union move forward with that as a grievance. There's no question about it, because that is a full-time position for the union, and that will be, I'm sure, coming to your desk before long. The other motion that came out of the Personnel Committee was nothing to do with City Council. There was a motion to deny a grievance, and that's on the document, just for record, gentlemen.
Water and Environmental. Alderman Bertle's absent, so Alderman Bud will take over his reading.
The first motion was to recommend the City Council to authorize and direct the mayor to sign pay request number 21 for Plocker Construction in the amount of $520,622.93 for the work on the water treatment plant, and forward the request to the IEPA low interest loan program for disbursement, and approve payment of same pending receipt of disbursement from IEPA. This condition upon the receipt of signed mechanics lien waivers in the amount and recommendations by the project engineer that the work has been satisfactorily performed. Make that formal motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud. Second by Alderman Walters. Comment or questions? Roll call.
Martin Boda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes. Carries 6-0.
The next motion was to recommend to the City Council to pay Benton and Associates in the amount of $16,217.12 for work performed related to the construction of the new water treatment plant from March 3rd, 2019 through March 16th, 2019. Make that formal motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud. Second by Alderman Walters. Comments or questions? Roll call.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Lee Landzadi?
Yes.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Martin Boda?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
The next motion is recommend the city council to pay Clark Dietz in the amount of $1,037.91 for the work performed related to the construction of the new water treatment plant from February 23rd, 2019 through March 29th, 2019. Make that informed motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Walters. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive, Martin Boda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
And then the final motion was recommend the city council approve a 3-year agreement with Solar B for a fee of not to exceed $9,131, and that is a maintenance agreement. Make that informed motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Olive.
Comment, Chairman.
Comment, Alderman Walters.
Yes. Are we close to the useful life on that current one that we have, or should we be looking to replace it?
We're probably getting there. Otter Lake has one that's older than ours and it's still functioning, so kind of using that one as a gauge, I guess, whether or not. But so far, the only main issues we have is repositioning every year. So.
What would be the approximate cost of a new one?
I don't know what replacement cost would be now. We've had it for quite a while. I mean, I can check on that, but I'm not really sure anymore.
The reason I ask is that we're gonna do $9,000, so that depends on where that
Yeah.
relationship is in.
For the 3 years, it's 9,000. I'm sure they're a lot more now. I don't even remember what it was we purchased now. It's been quite a few years ago, but I'll check.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Ernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Lee Landzadi.
Yes.
Jim Olive.
Yes.
Martin Boda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Comment before we go to the next one. Ron?
Comment, Alderman Boda.
I want to refer back to the Personnel Committee motion. That motion that came out of committee was made by Mr. Dorchenez. I seconded the motion. It carried out the committee 40-0, gentlemen. That was 50% of a full city council voted to support that coming out of committee. And now we come up here and I'm the only one who's supporting and replacing that individual. I just want those names to be on record. Myself, Mr. Dorchenez, Mr. Olive, and Mr. Bertle voted in support of that motion coming out of committee to fill that position. That position needs to be filled, gentlemen. Either you're gonna fill it this way, or it's gonna cost you some money to fill it the way you want it to. Just wanted for the record, Your Honor, that's where we're at. Thank you.
Lake and Airport Committee. Alderman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to recommend to the city council to forward the fiscal year 2019 and 2020 airport budget to the financial committee and make changes to expenditures and revenues to include SWPP, that's stormwater pollution prevention plan. I'd like to make that a motion.
Motion by Alderman Gonzalez, second by Alderman Olive. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve and/or ratify payment of bills.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Walters. Comment, Alderman Bud.
The bills totaled $1,076,312.18. Electric, $10,013.91. Fuel, $11,589.34. Garbage, $2,353. Big R, Ace, Bronze, Urban, and Taylorville Feed, $1,855.75. Quill for office supplies, $1,261.91. Computer Tech, $14,444.96. U.S. Bank, $2,647.52. The U.S. Post Office, $1,000. Larry's Service Center, $1,539.14. Napa, O'Reilly's and AutoZone's, $1,252.54. IMCO for 14-inch line, stop, and pipe, $12,157.40. United Capital Funding for temporary help, $3,614.86. Bella Amor, the Sam Taylor Fund, $1,184.78. Meyer, Austin, and Romano, $10,140. KMRN, Travelers and Chubb. General Liability Insurance, this is 4 of 4, $51,887.50. Aviation Corp for the airport insurance, $2,900. The total for the two insurances is $54,787.50. Police and fire. The Dolls uniforms, $1,152.30. People's Bank and Trust for the police, $12,986.10. This is 6 of 10. Fire Department, People's Bank and Trust, radio equipment, $8,389.65, 6 of 10. Street Department, Bodine Electric, signal repairs, $2,946.47. Water Department, Blocker Construction, $839,338.25. Chemicals, $15,162.15. Midwest Meter for lids, clamp, and cement, $5,941.75. U-Line, Table and Cabinet, $2,499.63. Sewer Department, EJ Equipment for camera repairs, $1,815.92. Paint a Limestone, $1,615.85. Phil Tullis for Steak and Shake, $31,120. Dolores Ketchum, half of sewer repair, $1,750. Lake Department, lake lot refunds, $2,000, and these total to $1,056,560.68.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Roll call?
Lee Landzadi,
Yes.
Jim Olive,
Yes.
Martin Boda,
Yes.
Earl Walters,
Yes.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. First subparagraph G of 5 ILCS 120/2.06. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for any person wishing to address the council on any relevant subject matters concerning the city. The Illinois Open Meeting Act 5 ILCS 120/1 mandates no action shall be taken on subject matters not listed on the agenda, but the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the subject matter to a future council and/or committee meeting. If anyone wishes to address the council, please provide your name and address, limit your comments or presentation to 3 minutes, and avoid repetitious comments. Anyone out there would like to speak to the council? Seeing none, thank you.
Motion to adjourn. Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Boda to
Second.
adjourn, second by Alderman Walters, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? City council meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
I'm all in favor.